Good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everyone's having a happy Friday. Uh, I know I cannot complain. We're going to be driving through Deadwood, South Dakota. In a second here, we'll be in the town limits. I just wanted to drive through and show you guys some of this natural beauty that's here in South Dakota. Well, basically, it's in this particular region of the country. But anyways, Deadwood is located on the in the far western region of South Dakota in the Black Hills. It's in Lawrence County. The population here is 1,156 people, and this community has been losing people. Okay, folks, welcome to Deadwood. Now we're officially in Deadwood. Okay, now this community has been losing people at a rate of 9% as of the 2020 census. Now, fortunately, if you're wanting to live out here, now again, this is another tourist community. This is largely tourism out here. But for some of you that like to live in places that are, I'll just say, interesting and very, with a lot of natural beauty. For those of you that want to live here in Deadwood for whatever reason, you'll get to, other than the fact that during this time of the year especially, you'll have a plethora of entertainment literally right at your doorsteps. You will also enjoy low crime, because violent and property crime here is below national average. If you're looking to rent, median rent prices are from $650 to $1,650 a month. If you're looking to purchase, I hope you got some deep pockets. The median home price is at $353,000. The cheapest house that's currently for sale is priced at $260,000. And for 260 grand, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're getting absolutely nothing special. The square footage of the house is gonna be small. Your lot size is gonna be small. And just to be fair, I will say one reason. So yeah, your lot size is gonna be small. Now, out here, you're typically not gonna run into a property that has a large lot because of how the landscape is. As you guys can see, it's very rugged out here. You got a lot of mountains. This is a very rugged town with tons of mountains. So if you're gonna live out here, typically your lot sizes are gonna be small. And even if you do have a decent sized lot, I would say a good amount of it's not gonna be usable. You're not going to be able to really plant nothing or grow anything on it, because it's going to be too... The land out here is not going to be level enough for you to really do anything with it. So basically, even if you do buy a house out here that does have a decent sized lot, the only thing you're going to be able to do is to sit and look at the greenery, the beauty. And then come fall time, you can look at the leaves fall off the trees, that type of stuff. So in a nutshell, that's what you can look forward to if you move to Deadwood when it comes to your housing. But let's be realistic here. I would say I'm gonna kind of sort of go on a limb, and I'm gonna say most people that come here to Deadwood, or they come to many of these tourist towns like Deadwood, whether it be here in South Dakota or whether it be anywhere else in the country, most people that decide to move and live in a tourist community like this one are not moving here because of affordable housing. They're moving here because A, entertainment, and B, and I would say in the case of this community, you got people that like the landscape out here. You got people that like the mountains. I mean, just the way this town is laid out, you got a lot of people that love it. They admire the natural beauty that's out here. And there's people out here that are into winter sports. And I'm fairly sure there's a fair amount of winter sport activities within this region that you can get into if you're into that type of stuff. Speaking of winter, let me go ahead and look up the climate here. I mean, I typically try to do that before I cut the camera on, but I forgot, so I'm gonna go and look at the climate here. Let's see here. Second, people. South Dakota Wikipedia. Alrighty. As far as it goes for the climate, the hottest month of the year here is going to be, let's see here. It seems like the hottest month of the year here is going to actually be August. It's going to be July and August. The highs up here can get to 103 degrees. Now, for the most part, just like in any other region of western South Dakota, your summers are going to be short-lived. However, they're going to be relatively mild and comfortable. The humidity is not going to be too high. For the most part, temperatures are not going to, well, getting ready to say that for the most part, your temperatures aren't going to get out of the mid-80s. But then when I look at I'm on Wikipedia right now, and when I look at the climate data for Deadwood, let's see. I'm looking for the average high temperatures here. Okay, yeah, like I was saying, typically up in this region of the country, here in Deadwood, your temperatures typically aren't gonna leave the mid 80s. I mean, so yeah, you gotta, summers up here are fairly mild, very comfortable, easy to deal with, at least in my opinion. Now winters, on the other hand, that's a different story. Because in this region of South Dakota, you're gonna most likely get that type of snow that drifts and blows all over the place, causing all type of whiteout conditions, accompanied with temperatures that are gonna be, according to, let's see, average lows. Let's see. According to Wikipedia, they got the average lows here in Deadwood. Let's see, in January it's going to be 14. In January and February, your average lows are going to be 14 degrees. And then in March, it's 21. And then in April, it's 29. In May, it's 38. 39. So, now, on the other hand, if you look at your record lows, your record lows are all in the negatives. Like for January and February, like for January, the record low is -30, and that's Fahrenheit. -29 for February, -22 for March, -6 for April, and 2 degrees in May. And so yeah, so there's been times up here where even throughout the summer, your temperature lows have been in the 20s and 30s. So it does get very cold up here, to say the least. And I'm fairly sure if you go and you speak to some of your locals here, they'll probably tell you that during the heart of winter, January, February, you know, it's typical to have several days in a row to maybe a month at a time, to where your temperature lows might be in the -20s or -30s, and even when it warms up throughout the day, it's not going to leave the negative. So if it goes into the positives, you may not get much warmer than maybe 10 degrees. So it gets very cold up here, to say the least. So with all that being said, the average snowfall annually here is going to be 101 inches a year. So this place does get a lot of snow. 101 inches a year of snow. And that's the average snowfall per year. And the only 3 months that you're guaranteed to have no snow is June, July, and August. Because on average in September, you're going to get close to an inch in September on average. Even in May, you'll get a little over an inch. And by October, you're going to get at least 4.5 inches. So you do get a lot of snow up here. Your average days of rain, or your average inches of rain rather. So it looks like they do get quite a bit of rain. 94.8 inches of rain per year. So they do get quite a bit of precipitation here, whether it be in the form of rain or snow. For average precipitation, they get 94 days per year. I looked at the wrong chart. Now, as far as average precipitation in inches, that means rain, per year, they get about 30 inches of rain per year. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Alrighty, so now that we got the climate covered, let's keep on going. The settlement of Deadwood began illegally in the 1870s on land that has been granted to the Lakotas, which is basically an Indian tribe. So basically, the first settlers who settled here weren't supposed to be here because this land was Native American territory, to put it in layman's terms. In fact, it was in the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. That's Larame. It was in that treaty that this land, along with the Black Hills, belonged to the Native Americans. Say what I really want to say, because then I'll probably get this video demonetized, but you know, I'm pretty sure many of you know that what I might be alluding to. If you don't, I guess use your imagination or ask someone around that knows a thing or two about American history. Tons of land disputes due to these settlers squatting on the land. Sounds very familiar. In 1874 on the French Creek, which is now known as Custer, South Dakota. If you want to know more about Custer, South Dakota, like what it looks like and just some of the basic information about Custer, feel free to go on this channel and watch my Custer video. I made that video a day or so ago. So once gold was discovered here, miners and entrepreneurs began to move here. At this time, the population grew to 5,000 people and then to 12,000 people in 1877, with a population peak of 25,000 people in 1876. Early, the majority of those people have left this community and moved on after the gold rush ended, and a lot of the gold began, after the gold rush ended, that's when a lot of people left. So Deadwood became known for its lawlessness due to increased gambling, illegal personal favors. Again, I can't say the word because if I do, I'll probably get this video demonetized. And deletions. And again, I can't say the word because I might get demonetized. So, use your imagination on those terminologies that I just uttered. By the early 20th century, the local economy changed from gold panning to deep mining, causing many to quit mining and change, which caused the changing of the characteristics of the town. So, in other words, as I kind of alluded to a minute ago, when gold up here began to dry up and many miners quit, a lot of the businesses that were ran and funded due to the gold mining industry, a lot of your entrepreneurs, along with a lot of your miners, left when gold dried up because there wasn't as much money to be made up here as there were back when there was more gold here. Now, the interesting thing is, the gold mine operations didn't stop until 2002, however. Now, when I talk about that the characteristics of this town changed, I mean, really it's common sense, but let me break it down anyways. With all the people that left this town when the gold industry dried up, you didn't have as much crime going on. You didn't have as much illegal activities going on because there weren't near as many people here. So typically, whenever a town begins to lose population, one thing that's going to decrease is crime. I mean, that's why you got certain cities like Gary, Indiana, Detroit, Michigan, and other cities in the Rust Belt region of this country that, although you see them on the news all the time, when you look at the data indicates that the crime of those cities went down. And the cities went down because the population of the people living in those cities also declined. So really, when you think about it, it's common sense of why the crime here in Deadwood went down. It went down the way it went down, changing the characteristics of this town because most of the people that were living here left when the gold industry dried up. So Deadwood was the first small U.S. town to use money from gambling to fund the operation of the town. Gambling became legal here in 1989. And today, tourism is the town's largest economy. And as far as the type of work that's available here, I would say the majority of the jobs here are going to be in hospitality, hotels, restaurants, that type of work. And the television series Deadwood was recorded here. The show ran 12 episodes on HBO from 2004 to 2006. Then the movie Deadwood was filmed here in 2019. So, as I've said before at the beginning of the video, and I'm pretty sure by now many of you realize this, Deadwood is one of those type of communities where it's basically this community is based off of tourism. If it wasn't for the tourism here in Deadwood, this community would just be another small, dead, probably dilapidated town like many of your towns you see like this in West Virginia. And honestly, for those that live in West Virginia, like whether you're a leader of some type in West Virginia, or maybe you're just a regular resident who might have a little bit of money and a knack for entrepreneurship and a few ideas. If you watch my, when you look at these videos that I've recorded here in western South Dakota, let these videos be an example of what you West Virginians can do to many of your smaller communities that you guys have that are similar to the one I'm going through right now. So rather than all your communities over there being dilapidated, everyone being broke and poverty stricken and just hopelessness all over the place, and this is what now I'm pretty sure many of you are familiar with the YouTuber. His channel name is The World According to Briggs. He's a huge YouTuber. His channel is, he's got over 1 million subscribers. So I'm fairly sure most of you that watch my channel know about his channel as well. And recently, whenever he does a video and he discusses West Virginia, he expresses the fact that West Virginia should turn their state into a tourist state. And if they did that, due to the natural beauty that's in West Virginia, they can make some serious money just off of tourism. And I agree with him. I 100% agree with him. Because some of the landscape that's here in the western region of South Dakota is very similar to some of the landscape that you'll find in many parts of West Virginia. And honestly, I think if West Virginia did turn it into a touristy state, not only will it provide jobs for the locals over there, it will also get the state out of poverty and get the state to where their surplus is positive. Because when you look at where West Virginia is located, you're only a few hours away from the DMV area. You're not super far from the Northeast. You're right by the Midwest. And you're not far from the South. Next state over, you got Virginia, which, their economy and everything is booming. So, West Virginia is located in the region of the country to where if they chose to take many of their smaller communities that are similar to this one here in South Dakota, and they chose to turn it into a touristy area, I can guarantee you West Virginia's economy is going to be booming. I mean, granted, some of the jobs may not pay the highest, but it will be enough to where people up there can go to work and make a living, and and provide some of the things that they need for themselves and their family. Honestly, if West Virginia were to turn their state into a touristy state, they would probably do better and make far more money than the money that's here in South Dakota. I'm just saying. And I say that because of the geographics of West Virginia. And also in West Virginia, although they do get plenty of snow up there, I mean, when it comes to the temperature in West Virginia, their temperatures are much warmer than what they are here in the Dakotas. Now, granted, up there you got the humidity because you're over east, but I still think that West Virginia can take a few lessons out of these videos that I make. They can just kind of mimic a little bit of what's going on here in South Dakota and do the same thing to their state. And if they do that, their state will be a lot better off, I feel. All right, folks, that's going to do it for my commentary. Enjoy the rest of the video. And until then, everybody have a blessed one, and I'll see you on the next one.